began to make it very clear that if my story has the ability to save one life, then I could not be selfish and just keep it to myself, but that I needed to share it. I am the byproduct of a rape. My mother was 11 years old when I was conceived. She was 12 when I was born. And I am a human being. I am not a choice. I am not just a lump of cells. I am a person. I am a person who had a purpose imparted in them. I grew up very impoverished, but by the grace of God, I began to see my purpose and began to walk out my purpose. Today, I am a mother of two amazing children who would have died in me at that moment. Right? Because we know science, right? We're the side who truly are pro-science, right? And all of my eggs were in my tummy, and had my mother and my grandmother had looked at the situation, and I'm not here saying that an 11-year-old child, that anything was pretty about that. There's nothing beautiful. My baby is 12. I would be devastated if something so horrid became a part of my family's life, a part of my child's life. And yet, there I was. I didn't choose to be conceived in the manner in which I was, but yet there I was. Killing me would not have made anything right for my mother. Killing me would not have resolved the wrong that had been inflicted upon my mother. Because y'all know, even in the church, we have two exceptions to the rule, right? I'm one of those exceptions for a reason to murder a human being. I am, because of how I was conceived. Had I been aborted, that wrong that was inflicted upon my mother, it still plagues my mother. Today, I have the wonderful opportunity of taking care of my mother. Whereas my grandmother was a net for me and my mother. She caught us and she preserved us, and I was loved as a child. I today get to be a net for my mother, who is still suffering from some of the brokenness in her own life. I would not have been there to catch my mother, and she will be floating in the wind. I tell my story because I want you young people especially, because we are living in a culture of death, where they not only do it to themselves, but they applaud others who do it as well. They're codifying abortion into the code that came out today. So this is the culture in which we're living in. And that is why I say we must unclutch our pearls and begin to open our mouths. No one is going to know your values by just watching your life alone. We have to start speaking truth. We have to start opening our mouths and stop being ashamed of truth. Stop being ashamed of science. Stop allowing those who have the morality of a slop bucket tell us what is right and what is wrong. They don't get to tell us what's right and what's wrong. I am a human being. And from me, by the grace of God, I went on to finish college, the first in my family to go to college. I spent 10 years in the U.S. Army Reserve, where I was accepted into officer candidacy school. I worked in the Wall Street environment in corporate America, an adjunct professor of corporate finance. I nothing to lose, everything to gain, being black and conservative in America. That went #1, by the way. I am regularly on television. I ran for Congress for the 4th Congressional District of Pennsylvania. I've homeschooled my kids. My life has value. My life has value. And had they murdered me, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here. My children wouldn't be here. And no one would be there to catch my mother. I am a productive citizen. Do not allow anyone to tell you that it's nothing but a clump of cells, that you as a woman have the right to play God, to determine if someone's life has value or not. Stand up and be bold. Stop being afraid. Stop allowing those with the morality of a slot bucket tell you what is right and wrong. Stand for the next little black girl or boy, the next little white girl or boy, the next congresswoman. Stand and speak up. Thank you.